Thanks for joining us today on Envision. We are talking about the legislative process, where education falls in that, and how schools participate, particularly how we participate in the process. We have a number of bills that we are tracking as they become bills and then work their way through the processes. And we have input and provide input to our legislators regarding those bills. I'm going to talk just generally about how that all comes to be. There's a lot of work tracking those bills.
Well, first of all, tracking the bills, we try to figure out which bills actually have an impact on the school district. And some of those are very easy to determine, and some of those aren't. So we have to keep a good eye on that. And we've got a number of people that keep their eye on what's happening in Pierre. And then from there, we take those bills that we think are important to us, or important enough to take a position on, and we write up a rationale and a position on where we are on those particular bills. Run that by the Board of Education so that the position isn't just Brian Maher's position, rather that it is the position of the Sioux Falls School District. And then we update those as amendments and changes come through the process. Now, behind the scenes, we have a lot of conversations with representatives and senators in Pierre, and from time to time conversations with the governor's office, and trying to either influence, or in some cases we're getting influenced to take a position. But it's all really part of that educational process. It's all part of that sausage making that happens in Pierre, and really in any legislative process. And while sometimes you just roll your eyes, or worse, in the end I know it's really important to the machinery that is the government of our state.
Right, and some of that legislation impacts, property taxes and those things that are used for funding for schools. Some of it impacts, I know there's legislation that impacts students specifically, whether that be through curriculum or what have you. And so there's a lot of different components to that, and it would be extremely naive if we weren't really involved in that process.
It can be contract language, which you wouldn't think is our thing, but we enter into a number of contracts. It could be issues that pertain to hiring or personnel. So another thing that you might not think has anything to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic that does. It can be the development of curriculum. It can be something that impacts the Activities Association. So there are a number of different tentacles that can play into this octopus.
Right, and so all of that information is gathered, kept, and is available for the public to review on our website as well, so that people understand there's the legislation, the bill number, the rationale for the position that the district takes, whether it supports, is neutral, or opposes that legislation, and people who are following that and wanting to know where the Sioux Falls School District stands can easily access that on our website.
Yeah, they really can. And I don't want to overstate the importance of that document, but I will have people call me many times, folks from Pierre, politicians in Pierre, but sometimes folks just around the state who are interested in maybe a little deeper perspective of why we took the stance that we took, whether they're for or against our position. But it's fairly wide read, and if you have a question, it's easily accessed.
Right, and then it also has the contact person posted on there as well, so if you have additional questions, you can get directly in contact with the person in the Sioux Falls School District who is monitoring that situation. So we are actively engaged. We encourage our stakeholders out there to become actively engaged as well, and find out what the positions of the Sioux Falls School District are, and learn more about the process. Certainly, we are all about education, and this explains and demonstrates really how we participate in that process. Well, thanks for joining us today on Envision.